The Blind Hacker?
I am visually impaired, legally blind. I started losing my sight. I have a whole talk about it. Hacking while blind from DerbyCon and Circle City. One of them's 30 minutes long, the other one's an hour long, where the hour long one, I actually start to show you the tools that I have to use, which is where I take a lot of time to go, hey guys, when you're developing tools, it'd be really cool if you comment your work and make it so I can output it, because if not, this is what it sounds like. And then I hit go on a Nessus like scan that started bringing back even like HTML or a SSL certificate, and you can hear OX, AO, you know, you hear the whole binary, you hear the whole hex of it, and people were like, and I didn't even make it but halfway through that, and that was only like one of like 4 SSL certs, so I stopped and I was like, so, you know, this is why I have to output things. I do a lot of parsing. I'm trying to get to the point where I feel a little bit, so after the last talk, I only caught the tail end of it, but I was like, you know, I try to get to the point where I feel comfortable, just because I do have a physical disability. A lot of people know me, that the people that know me know that I'm a really good guy, know that I mentor, know that no matter what, I'm always out to do those things, but I still suffer from the, is my work good enough for other people? And so I'm like, you know, I really want to release these things so that way I can get other visually impaired or blind people into our industry, and it would definitely help them out. But I'm like, then I have to maintain it, and then I have to be responsible for it. But not really just that, like, would people even care? So the big systemic issues, but you know, I'm sure ultimately, if one person uses it and benefits from it, it's better than nobody. So
I was going to say,
I got to start negotiating.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
The whether it's good enough, you know, that's an existential question. It ends up going a couple of different ways. Does it work? And is it pretty? Do I really want myself to be judged by this code? And I really fall victim to fear of the second one. And finally, a number of years ago, I just said, okay, forget it. They can hate me, but I'm going to share.
Perfect.
And, you know, one of my best friends and mentors once pulled me aside. He says, you know, even ugly code is worth running if it's good. Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yep.
So let me give you a brief intro, Joe. Joe, you're an InfoSec enthusiast for 15 years, making and breaking things. You run Dead Pixel Sec. And that, for those of you who don't know, that's a growing InfoSec and learning community which sponsors other organizations and raises funds for multiple causes. I'd like to hear more about that if you have time at the end.
I actually have a slide on it.
Excellent. Awesome. Joe, you spend your free time mentoring members of the InfoSec community. Thank you very much. It is most important. And completing resume reviews, which, again, super helpful to others around you. So with that, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. So I called this CyberPhunk2020 instead of CyberPhunk2077, primarily again because we have this funk going around, and of course I had to spell it with the PH. So 2020 has been an awfully interesting year, an entire shift to human culture and even hacker culture. You know, the minimalized socializing we get anyway is gone, and if you're new to the industry, you don't even know what some of that's about. So you've only been exposed, if you've started this year, you've really only been exposed to 1 or 2 cons, and then a slew of virtual cons. And you're like, is it always like this? Well, I tell you, in real cons, I've been to so many cons throughout the years now. I've stopped going to the talks, the ones that I know will be recorded, unless it's a friend or unless I'm really going to get immediate value out of it. And I socialize. I socialize because I found that I can learn a lot from those people too. And then you go, hey, I really, I was at your talk. I did come to your talk. Tell me more about these things. You go to the bar afterwards, you can learn a lot more. So, with CyberPhunk 2020, it ultimately is, you know, how to still kick off your career in your cyber journey in this 2020 era. Again, so who am I? Mentioned the blind hacker. Yes, I'm visually impaired, legally blind. I am not disabled. I don't consider myself disabled. Ultimately, I still have some of my vision. So if you see me around, you know, I have an entire talk about that again. Hacking while blind. Go see it on YouTube. There's let's see. So you know, I'm still a Goonie, a gamer, nerd. I still game, even with the lack of vision. I play a lot of first-person shooters, RTSs, everything. Still, it's who I am. Educator, mentor. Again, definitely those are my core benefits. I can't stop teaching. I've been to places where my wife's like, "Do you have to turn everything into a lesson?" Sorry, but yes, people need to know things. Hacker, penetration tester, red teamer, and not just a red teamer, because I do really good penetration testing, but I've actually done, government grade tiger teams in my history, and actually, brought down entire facilities, fun stuff. Catch me in a bar one day when we can be back in person. I'm director of offensive all day long. I'm currently director of offensive security at my current company. I am. There's some stuff going on there. Pay attention. I do a ton of community outreach, and of course, I'm an ally advocate, meaning for accessibility. Again, I've tried to write a lot of accessibility programs myself. A lot of fun stuff. All right, what I do. I love hacking networks, systems. It's kind of my thing. Not so great at like the reverse engineering and a couple of the other things, but I can do them. But as I was saying earlier, these are my things. Again, if you want to hear some fun stories, there's a ton there. Love modding things. Again, games, code, scripts, hardware, SBCs. I love single board computers and single on-chip circuits. And you think visually impaired, how can you do them? I've actually learned how to build them in CAD programs, and I just order them directly from China. Hope to do what I want them to do, get them in, and then I put them all around my house. I have sensors around my house to measure humidity. Just weird little things that I built into a small little ecosystem when I know they exist, but why buy them when I can make them? Again, so I'm Joe B, but I created this personality for the Blind Hacker primarily for streaming. Again, mostly education stuff. I'm a teacher, a mentor, and a coach. If you come to me directly, I'll be glad to just coach you through things and mentor you through things, but I'll get into some of that stuff a little bit later, actually, as part of this talk too. And of course, a ton of community outreach. Where I do it, so Dead Pixel Sec, this is our awesome logo done by our community. His name is Scully. His name, just Scully. We haven't really assigned. So Dead Pixel Sec, what is Dead Pixel Sec? Dead Pixel Security is a Discord community that I put together when I was doing my Blind Hacker thing. I tried to mimic my streams in a way that was like very much like gamers, so I could entice people who were new to the industry. Gamers, you can always walk into a gamer stream channel and kind of connect. So I wanted to have the ability just for you to connect to me so I can mentor you no matter how you learned, whether visually, audibly, walking through the example or with slides. I tried to do a lot of that. So I've eventually Blind Hacker Discord became the PixelSec Discord. Bada bing, bada boom. Discord.deadpixelsec.com. I also do Grumpy Hackers. If you don't know what that is, it's just a weekly little podcast we do. We only keep things around for a short time because we get very grumpy on the show. So that's twitch.tv/Grumpy Hackers. Nova Hackers from Nova, Northern Virginia. I do a lot with the Nova Hackers guys up here. Social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm hardly on Instagram and Facebook, but you can definitely find me on the Blind Hacker on Twitter, and I'm on there a ton. All right, so let's start off your journey now. So I get the question a lot. Education. Do I need a degree? The answer is no. Do I need a certification? The answer is no. Well, then do I need to be a black hat then? Also no. And then I always get the question, well, do I need to be some kind of elite hacker then? No. So when it comes to you starting your journey is going to be very personalized, very individualized, and everybody has a story. Part of what I do as a mentor and a coach, and just as a general person of who I am, I want to hear everybody's story first. Seriously, if you have a really cool story, you want to share it, find me, shoot me a tweet, a DM. I'll jump on a voice chat with you. I want to know your story. I like stories. Stories are how you can relay information and when you're trying to be empathetic, and it's hard to be empathetic at times. When you're introverted, you're extroverted, you're a different kind of person. We all have personalities. But the good thing about storytelling is if you tell a good story or a good narrative, everybody can kind of be there with you in those moments and feel, at least in to some measure, the things that you were feeling, no matter introvert, extrovert. So even if you're not good at telling stories, keep telling your stories until you get good at them. But ultimately here, when you're getting into cybersecurity, do you need any of these things? No. Will they help you out in your career to get more money, to get higher up a ladder? That answer is yes. But ultimately, to start your journey, none of these things are going to be required. at all. Because your journey is going to be, again, very individualized and personalized, but there is a core set of things you do need to know. Make sure I'm on the right side. There we go. So where to start? I get this question a lot. Well, okay, cool. If I don't need all that, where do I start? Well, guess what? In 2020, it's hard to tell actually where to start. There's an extraordinary number of paths here, and I love this picture I picked up. There's a person here, then here, and they've kind of deviated from the two split paths, but they get a little bit further along, and they see there's multiple paths. And if you see past that more and more and more, cybersecurity gets very similar to that in the sense of, well, what's red team and blue team? Well, we've finitely turned our offenders and defenders into a red team and a blue team, just so that way you can kind of get those apropos functions down. Well, ultimately, it doesn't matter where you start. There's again, a lot of people say, oh, well, entry-level security operations center. Where I disagree, even as a senior level offensive security red team or pen tester, if you work at a security operations center, I have just as much respect for you if you have 50 years of pen testing, red teaming, and you've hacked the Pentagon and you've walked into the president's office and thrown paper down on his desk with his personal password. Great. Security operations folks, that's not entry level either. That's, excuse me, it's a good place to get your start. But you can spend 15, 20, 50 years there protecting people, and protecting people is just as important as pen testing, red teaming. Whereas, a lot of the sexiness is definitely in pen testing, red teaming, breaking into places, walking out with servers. We hear all the cool stories from TinkerSec and a couple other folks. If you're just around Twitter, you're looking at those things, you get these really cool stories, but you get really cool stories from the security operations folks who turn around and reverse engineer some of these more advanced APTs, things like that. So again, you can start in just about any of these categories, even as an entry level. It's tougher on these lower categories, but security operations, pen testing, for instance, incident response is a little tougher. I see a lot of people these days on Twitter getting through and doing bug hunting, and I put threat hunting there. I know they're different, but they're two sides, same coin, right? So when you do bug hunting, you can go, oh, well, I find bugs and I find DOM cross-site scripting, but you can do threat hunting just as easy with those same skills going, hey, I found DOM and cross-site, let's fix these things. And then of course, cybersecurity engineers and analysts. So I put that on here because an engineer and an analyst typically might be doing things like infrastructure related or other related, or if you're a pen tester, but your job title is cybersecurity engineer. Ultimately, these are a lot of places you can get started. And these aren't even like all of the things you could be doing. Again, malware, I didn't put everything here because there's so many, but again, these are the kind of the main areas that I see it's easier to get started, let me say, unless you have, again, a severely catered to skill set. So again, where to start? Still at the beginning. So we're still at your beginning, and you're like, well, I need to be getting an entry level job. True, but also false. So as you say, a lot of people ask, how do I get experience in an industry where I need 20 years of experience to get in? Well, I bet you've got more experience than you think you do. And what I mean by that is, what do you do on a day-to-day basis that could potentially affect and change your job? Well, are you customer service currently at McDonald's? Are you customer service at Comcast? Do you have a customer service element? Because the most important thing, even though I try to put this into a lot of my pen testers and a lot of the folks who work with me and for me throughout the years, like, I don't care if you're a really senior pen tester and you can reverse engineer everything. If you get on a call with a client, you gotta have customer service. They are your customer. You have to serve them. You have to be articulate with them. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're right. Listen to the customer's concerns first, learn to address it, internalize it, and then give them the information to sway them to your opinion. Don't just come out and be like, you're stupid because your password was password, or your password was goat, or okay, cool. Help them fix it. It's your fault if their password's crappy. It really is. And not you necessarily, but even me, it's our faults, because ultimately we haven't given them the idea and the functionality to give themselves a moment to prove that these things aren't secure and those kind of things. So you're going to have to turn around and internalize a lot of that customer service. Do you build labs at home? Do you build networks? Did you play around on BBSs as a kid? Did you play around on forums? Those are all skills. Learning to Google things. It's such an interesting skill that I see a lot, where people they come to me directly for an answer. Hey, how do I pop this box? Well, did you try Googling the vulnerabilities? Did you, I'm going to give you a methodology. You got to stick to it. You got to learn it. I can tell you how to do it all day, but when it comes to you doing it as your job, you have to be able to do it. So you got to get those levels of experience and skills beforehand. So again, what have you done and what do you do? Customer service, relevant. Turn around and grab that CSA job you hated and turn it into a, this is my real customer service and I can troubleshoot, I can problem solve. So again, bet you have more experience than you think. This is why when doing resume reviews, I go, yeah, don't just be, oh, I picked up phone calls and did, no. You addressed a customer's concern in their time of need when they called you. It's all about wording, and I know sometimes it's bullshit, but that's the way it is. It is a very valid tactic to take the skills you do have to use them. When to start? Well, guess what? 2020, yeah, plenty of time. You're not supposed to be going outside. You're supposed to be social distancing. Now is literally the best time to start. Are you already in IT? No? Cool. Again, customer service. Do you have technical writing skills? Can you go write if you're even a person who writes fantasy, sci-fi fantasy stories, short stories, whatever. I just need people to have the imagination and the ability to build a self-narrative. That's what I need. Technical writing capabilities, even better. If you can go to your university, if you're in university, or if you can go, if you're not in university, find a technical writing course. Being able to write a document from this perspective to this is the utilization, this is how to do it, here's these steps, all useful. Coding, awesome. If you can code or script, it's going to help you out. Doing research, again, knowing how to Google something is such an important thing sometimes because you're not going to have your mentors around, you're not going to have your buddies around. Just being able to get onto Google, to get on your search engine and find the manipulation towards the thing you want. If you are doing cutting edge research, I've done a ton of this. I've gone to forums and went, oh, this guy's having the same problem as me. I wonder when they did it. You go, for me, I got to scroll around again. I'm zoomed in. I scroll up and I go, oh, that's me. And that was a year ago, still having the same problem. I'm not necessarily cutting edge, but a lot of people aren't sharing their research. So, okay, let me see if I can reword this to find somebody who's done something a little similar, but not for the more potential nefarious ways that I'm trying to use it. Oh, okay, so this is how you do those things. So being able to do that research, again, highly invaluable. And those are skills you can acquire now before you do your journey, before you start your journey, or during your journey, or even 15 years in your journey. So do you even need to be in IT? I get that a lot. Oh, well, I just want to go straight into pen testing. A lot of people go, oh, you need fundamentals, you need the IT stuff. I disagree. You can get into cybersecurity and InfoSec without being in IT, but it helps. You are going to have, if you have those fundamentals when you're getting an entry-level cyber, you're going to have an easier time. If you don't have them, you're really going to have to prove yourself. Even if a lot of companies eliminating education requirements, a lot of people doing those things, great. But still having years of experience, they really just mean, how senior are this? How familiar, how proficient in this concept are you? And if you're proficient, still apply. I tell people, you look at a job, always apply. I never not apply for a job that, even if I'm way underqualified for, I'm still going to apply because I've gotten that job before because I was the only person who remotely put in my resume and interviewed for it. That early on in my career, I got a lot of jobs like that. So, valuable advice. Again, when to start? We're still looking at now. So, what could you be doing?
Would that be considered a buzzing?
Would that be considered what? Okay. So again, when to start? So, with all this additional done, again, what can you be doing? You can definitely be learning some coding, scripting, and automation. I don't care what you know, what you've done, anything like that. Coding and scripting, coding is building applications, scripting is building scripts to do things. Automation. My life as a senior level pen tester, red teamer, is made extraordinarily easy by me and my team automating what we do. What is automation? If I have to scan for this X thing, X amount of times on X networks, after the 10th time, I'm automating it. Actually, after usually the second or third time, I'm automating. What does that mean? I'm going to write a script or program to do those things for me, to save me time. I'm going to write parsers. I'm going to put data together so I can just get the data I need, because when you're doing a pen test, networks are extraordinarily complicated sometimes, and you just need a little bit of help. And if you can write your own automation to bring you the data you think is most valuable, it's going to help you out. Networking, TCP, UDP, IP, routing, hardware. Those are some of the most basic things I need you to do if you're going to come to me and ask me to be a pen tester. I need you to be able to understand the handshakes, because I'm going to ask you to do certain things with handshakes. A SYN scan, your SYN. Oh my God, what is a SYN scan? Well, no, SYN. We're not sinning. It's okay. And oh, what is SYN? Oh, synchronize. Okay, what does that even mean? I need you to know those things. It's going to help you out immensely. It's going to allow me to know that you understand what's going on. Things you can do as well. OSINT research and hunting. Again, bug hunting, threat hunting. You can do those things before you even get in the industry to build up a name, to build up a reputation. If you can do those things. If you can't, looking into bug hunting, even just being on HackerOne and trying to scan and enumerate places that, again, allow you to do these things, because there's a rules of engagement that say this is safe to do here. So there's no fear of breaking something. There's no fear of the FBI man coming to your door. You get a little bit safe harbor. Don't go outside the rules. They will punish you for them. Pay attention to the rules, follow the rules. I know being a hacker, you're supposed to break the rules. Don't. Don't do badness. And I think I'll say that later on too. Again, there's plenty of resources for research. Of course, reading and writing, again, critical skills you can build right now. There's so many skills that'll help. If you have a skill, you can probably, to take your hacker mindset, which is how can I use something that's not supposed to do something to do something that's literally what we do. If that's the mindset you have, then you can do this. And by the way, SOC and blue teamers are hackers too, because again, they're doing something with something that's not supposed to do this to do something. So it doesn't matter. If you've got that mindset, that's going to be the first important thing for you. Develop a plan and stick to it. So again, this is a very individualized journey on your own. If you find it that it's hard for you to learn on your own, then there's plenty of free resources. As a guide, finding a mentor, again, hugely. I will help you as much as I can, but did I even say? Oh yeah. So people always ask me, are people going to be willing to teach me? The answer is yes. Then there's Mentor Mondays on Twitter. People always saying, hey, I need a mentor for this, or hey, I'm mentoring for this. Go pay attention. It's a good hashtag. Come to Dead Pixel Sector and InfoSec community. Being a community member, even if you're not in the community now, helps out, because it helps you make networks and connection. That's huge. NetSec is a huge resource for a lot of people. Reddit, forums, a lot of that information is out there, freely available. So you got to develop a plan where you're going to learn these things using these people. And again, I don't know if I said it. Get multiple mentors. I don't know if I might have thought it, but didn't put it. Don't have just one mentor. You can come to me and I'll teach you cool red team stuff, forensic stuff, a lot of stuff that I know and do on a day-to-day. I don't know everything. But if you think you have a passion for those things, find people that'll mentor you there. You should not have one mentor. You should probably have a dozen, if not more. But keep in mind, those are people that you should be able to rely on. A mentor is someone who you should be able to rely on. Ask a question. Don't ask questions you could Google. Ask questions, I'm having trouble with this and I can't figure out what to Google, and then go to your mentor, especially after you start to develop the relationship. They will appreciate that more. I'm glad to help out and point you to resources, but I need you to do some legwork first and then come back to me. I have this brand new bubble of data. What do I do with it? Oh, well, you can apply here, there. I should be directing you, not telling you what to do. Again, where to start? Huge question. Anywhere. If you've got some foundations, awesome. If you don't, you have to get the foundations to be in this industry. No matter what, SOC, red team, blue team. If you're going to do any of this, you need to know networking. You need to know hardware. You need to know a few of those things. And first of all, I love this. I saw this with LO Punk first, and it's okay to be new track, and it's totally okay to be new. I don't think there's a real such thing as dumb questions. Now, if you come to me and ask me the same question multiple times, I'm going to get annoyed with you. But ask me every question. If there's a legitimate reason for you to be asking me this question, ask me. But don't ask, how do I break into this box? How do I hack someone's face? Go learn how to hack in someone's Facebook. There's 90 YouTube videos how to do it. I don't need to teach you, and I will refuse to teach you. In fact, I will probably block you at that point. But you need any of these things, I can help you with them. It's okay to be new. Your Network Plus, solid foundation. Security Plus, solid foundation. There's a few others. You know, a lot of people bash CEH, but guess what? Still teaches you a methodology that you can ultimately use to get your OSCP. OSCP, sure, yeah, get that. OSCE, e-learn certs are fantastic. You know, do you need these certs? Again, no, you can study just the material, but you have to know these things to be able to do the jobs. And that's why there are certifications over degrees. Move on to concepts. Move around concepts to find your passion. If you're, man, I actually don't like forensics. I hate data diving. I hate carving data. I hate just watching it count meta packages. I hate watching it SHA things. Cool. Find another passion. It's that easy. If I wake up tomorrow and I say, you know what, I don't want to be a red teamer anymore. I don't want to be an offensive security person. I do have the skill set to approach the security operations center and go, I'm going to come work for you guys as, you know, a senior person. It's going to take me a little while to change mindsets, but we could do this. And that's the benefit. Even 15 years in, I can still do something like that. Go, I would like to not do this stuff anymore and do these things because of the broadness, but also the similarity and the way that we do things in the industry. Again, be open, find as many passions as you possibly can, and it's okay to have more than one. It really is. If you're at work doing a pen testing, but you find yourself writing YARA rules and regex rules on the weekend, perfectly suitable and fine. Chin up, you can do this. Huge level of encouragement. Again, free training out at Cybrary. There it is. Seek multiple mentors, many of them. I knew I wrote it somewhere. Learn on the job if you can. I've tried to encourage a lot of people who are in IT already to go, just approach your security team. If they're good, they will be glad to go, come sit in on a few things. Come just chill with us, talk with us, go to lunch with us. Ask if you can go to lunch with them. They're people too, guys. They're not rock stars. They're not superheroes. We're just people too. One of the best things you can do when starting, again, is stay positive. Just always encourage yourself. If you need encouragement, BSD Bandit, Blind Hacker on Twitter. BSD Bandit is a huge inspiration to me. Good friend of mine, known him for years now. We talk and do a lot of stuff and hang out, but just that level of encouragement that he tosses out is awesome. Again, keep learning. Don't do badness. If you don't know what I mean by that by now, rewatch this and come back. Don't do bad stuff. All right, sorry. Questions? MC, do we have any questions so far?
Waiting for them.
Okay.
So far, you've covered a lot of really great things on how to get started and how to ramp up, how to build yourself, how to take the things you've already got and capitalize on them, because you probably have more experience than you think. No, you got some really great stuff. By the way, I did try to interject earlier, but I had technical difficulties. I was saying, is that considered fuzzing the resume process by submitting your resume for jobs that you may not get? Because it's not necessarily about your resume, it's about what they need and who all applies. You're finding, I hate to say it this way, but it's coming out. You're finding weaknesses in the interviewing process, in the hiring process. You got to find the one where your resume lands and you're the top candidate. So cool.
So my story there, again, I told you, being a storyteller. So join me in my story real quick. I was in my mid-20s still. I was like, man, I really want this job because it's doing things at this organization that I really want to do. But they want a senior level person. You know, I had 5 years. Some people consider that senior, some people don't. But I had 5 years, but I didn't, you know, a lot of their stuff was like 7 to 10, 7 to 10. I was like, well, I don't have those qualifications, but I'm going to apply anyway. I applied. They brought me in for an interview and they told me straight up, hey, we're one of the greenest people. But since I showed up, I was dressed nice. I came in my suit, no tie. I hate ties, but came in my suit, no tie. They're like, next time wear a tie. I'm like, okay. You know, that'll probably tell you potentially what organization this is if you know some of the big orgs. But since I was one of the only people to show up and excited, I was really excited because this was something I was like, I could totally be doing this for you guys, and I could, you know, I know this program, I've already looked it up, I could do these things here, and I could build this structure, and I could build an entire workforce around just the idea of what I see you guys wanting to do here with proactive security, but also this. And this was, by the way, early days of even InfoSec and cybersecurity. So it's like, you know, being able to pitch that, and then sure enough, got the job, and within the first 2 years I was there, I ended up becoming a lead. They, you know, my salary grew more than 20% just because of they brought me on a little bit lower because I was not the senior level. But the minute I had a few years of experience in there and I hit the senior level, more than 20, it's actually more than 25. It's actually significant. But because I was there, I was the only one to apply for it who was excited. And they were like, wow, a young person excited about something, and he's probably gonna stick around for a while, and you know, boom. So
yeah, there's a lot more than just your resume that goes into that. A lot of people are looking for the right personality fit or the right excitement. And some places don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what they're asking for is unreasonable. I've seen resumes, or I've seen requests for people who literally the technology did not exist as long as they wanted the experience in hacking it to be. It's like, just go with
I saw that on Twitter the other day. Somebody's like, oh, they want some number of 5 years of experience for this API that I wrote 2 years ago.
Yeah, so we did get a couple questions, or at least one here. Charles Roth asks, what's the one thing people are getting wrong when transitioning?
Ooh, how to say this?
That's a hard one.
Without being a total jerk about it, from my mentor perspective, again, I still have a lot of people who, I have more people now because the way I've engaged the community that are very proactive. I mention a concept, they come back to me again with that bubble of data and go, how do I ingest this? Not how do I do this? How do I ingest this? This is, I don't know some of these words. So that's when I'll do it. Some of the thing that I see people having a hard time transitioning is when they don't realize, again, when I say these basic concepts, oh, I know networking, I know I know the words TCP, IP, UDP. Cool. Do you know the three-way handshake? Yes, cool. Do you know what happens if I do these things with those handshakes? So if I manipulate handshakes? No. Okay, that's fine, but you do need to know those to be in a SOC, to be an analyst, to be someone who's protecting a network, but also someone who's breaking into a network. That's one thing. But the second thing too, and this goes again outside of mentoring for just the cyber, but mentoring for your job career. I just literally had a conversation with one of my employees. He asked, how do I ask for a raise? 1 year out of college, but already has his OSCP, a couple other things like that. I'm probably blowing him out of the water. You're one of my fantastic students. I love you, dude. But he was like, how do I ask for a raise? And I was like, you're coming to me asking me how to raise? He's like, oh, it's like, no, I'll tell you. You got to be ready with information. You can't just go into a situation and have heard something and then go in and be like, oh, I know pen testers make $125,000 a year. I want to make that. And then I'm going to look at your experience and your other things and go, well, I would only be willing to pay you 85 because I really need you to learn a lot of these things, because after the interview, I liked you, your personality matches, but you don't have what I need. And then them go, pshaw. That's a tough transition too. I need you to realize that I do value your time and I do want to pay you, but I need you to be able to complete the job too. So that's a business thing. So how do you ask for raises? How do you know to do the jobs? Well, those are things that I see commonly in people who do switch careers or who are coming into the industry not know how to do. Asking for a lot of money, smart, don't undervalue yourself. Asking for too much money, not smart. I'm not even going to give you the chance now.
Sweet. David Cybug gives you a thumbs up. And Amruta asks, how many hours in a day of work should we devote to hacking or breaking into stuffs? What do you think?
How many? Well, if it's your job, the whole day. Okay. As a mentor, I would say I wouldn't say spend the amount of hours. I don't want to give you hours, but in your free time or in your study time, I do personally probably about 60 to 80% hands-on of the newer, crazier concepts, and then probably more about, you know, 20 to 30% varying of just reading other people's ideas of concepts. So recently I undertook mobile application hacking. Totally get the concepts because I'm familiar with it. But then I've got Swift on one hand and Java on the other, two entirely different languages. Well, Swift Catalan, Java, and weird Java, bastardized Java. There's so many things on the different platforms. Like, oh, well, we're on these more recent things, but what if I want to break into old phones? So I probably spent 80% research and 20% actually trying to find demo apps that people submitted or put out there that are even old. I actually had to build up an emulator of like Android 5 or something just to be able to run this. I was like, all right, cool. But it really varies. It does. How to say, again, really loaded question, but you should find the comfortability for you. If you have the ability to break into things all day, do it all day. But keep in mind, again, if you're trying to improve your other skills, your personalization, if you're going to become a presenter, you've got to sharpen those skills. I did it by streaming. Again, that's the entire reason I started streaming, so I could start presenting, because I had data I needed to get out of me and teach people, and I was afraid. So
Nice.
Sharpen the skills any way you can, but find the percentage, not the amount of time.
I've been trying to push for years for people to ask their boss to allow them 10% of their time to play if they're in InfoSec. I mean, if their job is cooking bacon, then, you know, trying to get their boss to pay for them to learn how to hack stuff, probably not a good idea. But
Tougher. You have to be a really good salesman.
It depends on how good your social engineering skills are. But anyway, we got a couple more questions, but we're running out of time. I'd like to divert them over to the Discord channel. Joe, you're going to be in the Discord channel, right?
Yep, I'm going to have to pop upstairs back to my actual office and start doing a little bit of work, but I will be available via Discord, and it will be available immediately.